Hello everyone! In this video we'll be looking at the mass of different objects and comparing them. To do this, let's start by taking a look at this slide. What are we seeing here? There are 3 pen balance scales, each holding a toy on one side and some blocks on the other side. What else do we notice? I notice that all the pens on these scales are balanced. So, what do we understand from this? We understand that the weight of the things on either side of the balance is equal. The toy on one side is the same weight as the blocks on the other side. Let's check out the weight of the toys one by one. The first balance scale shows us that the teddy bear weighs 4 blocks. On the next balance scales we see that the ball weighs 5 blocks. On the last balance scales we see that the toy car weighs 3 blocks. Right, now that we know the weight of the different toys, let's move on to see what the task in this activity is about. We read, use the clues to solve the mystery. Okay, so we must follow the clues that these children are giving us to see which of these toys belongs to which child. Nina is saying, my toy is not the heaviest, but not the lightest. Sam is saying, my toy is less than 5 blocks heavy. And finally we have Tim, who is telling us, my toy weighs more than the car. Right, children, so before we discuss any further, pause the video and read through the clues again to try and solve the mystery. We'll discuss the answer as soon as you're back. Okay, so let's discuss, starting with what Nina's telling us. Her toy is not the heaviest, but not the lightest. Which toy is the heaviest? It must be the one that weighs the most blocks, right? And that would be the ball, weighing 6 blocks. We also know that Nina's toy is not the lightest one either. So which toy is the lightest? If the heaviest is the toy with the most blocks, then the lightest must be the one with the least blocks. The car weighs only 3 blocks, so the car is the lightest. So if we know that the ball and the car are not Nina's, we can say that Nina's toy must be the teddy. Let's check to see if we're correct. Yes, we're perfectly right. Moving on to Sam's clue. He said that his toy is less than 5 blocks heavy. So, we must see which toys weigh less than 5 blocks. The teddy bear weighed 4 blocks, and the car weighs 3 blocks. Now, we already know that the teddy belongs to Nina, so the only toy that could be Sam's is the car, right? Let's see. Correct. So, after we found out which toys belong to Nina and Sam, we can say that the ball must belong to Tim. Let us confirm this. Tim said his toy weighs more than the car. So, there we could have said that Tim's toy could either be the teddy or the ball. But since we know that the teddy belongs to Nina, then the ball must belong to Tim. And that's correct. Perfect, children. Let's move on to the next slide. What do we have here? We have 2 balance scales, again with a toy on one side and some blocks on the other side. The instructions are asking true or false. The car is heavier than the plane. Keep in mind that we are weighing the objects in blocks. How many blocks does the car weigh? It weighs 3 blocks. And how much does the plane weigh? The plane weighs 5 blocks. So, going back to the statement, the car is heavier than the plane, is this statement true or false? It is false. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Here the statement reads, the plane is heavier than the car. If it is heavier, then it must weigh more blocks than the car, right? Yes, the plane weighs more than the car because 5 blocks are more than 3. So the statement is true. Right. In the next slide, the statement reads, the plane is 5 blocks heavy. Is this true? Look at the number of blocks balancing out the plane. Are there 5? Yes, there are 5, so the statement here is true. Perfect. Moving on. Here we read, the car is lighter than the plane. If it is lighter, then it must weigh less cubes than the plane. Do you agree? We see that the car weighs 3 blocks. Is this more or less than the 6 blocks that the plane weighs? It is surely less. So, yes, the statement is true. Right, moving on to our last slide. Here we read, the car and the plane weigh the same. Do you think this is true or false? Well, if both toys had to weigh the same, then they would weigh the same number of blocks. And we know that it is not the case simply by looking at the number of blocks, right? So, the statement must be false. Okay. Right, children, and with that slide we have come to the end of this video. We had plenty of reasoning to do, and I love explaining how I think things through. It helps us to understand better, doesn't it? Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.